Welcome, dearly beloved, chosen and anointed ones. Genius is not about what you've memorized, it's about what you've survived. Let that sink in for a moment. If you're here watching this, it's not by coincidence. Something inside you was drawn to this message, like your spirit already knew there was a truth waiting for you in plain sight. Think about it. All your life, people around you have sensed there was something different about you. They couldn't always describe it, but they felt it. You carry a frequency that bends the rules of ordinary intelligence. It unsettles people because it's not just knowledge, it's an energy, a force, a gift that doesn't play by the same rules. Researchers at Harvard have shown that gifted minds don't just store information, they rewire reality itself, processing at a rate that others struggle to follow. And that's you. You've probably wondered why people seem uneasy around you, why they sometimes misunderstand you, or even feel threatened when you're just being yourself. It's because you don't simply exist in the ordinary, you tilt the atmosphere. You ask the questions no one dares to ask. You spark realizations people aren't ready for. Sometimes you can casually explain something simple, and suddenly the person listening is questioning their entire life path. That's not arrogance, that's evidence of the disruptive brilliance within you. Tonight, we're going to uncover the truth behind why your intelligence doesn't just impress people, it shakes them, silences them, and sometimes even exposes them. You are living proof that genius is not born in comfort, it is forged in survival. While many people crumble under the weight of hardship, you emerged sharper, wiser, and more resilient. Most people go through pain and come out bitter or broken, but your story is different. Every trial you faced became a classroom. Every betrayal became a lesson. Every rejection became a code you learned to decipher. That's why people can't quite figure you out. They expected to see scars, yet what they see is strategy. They expected silence, yet what they hear is clarity. They expected weakness, but what you show them is strength. Your wisdom carries the weight of fire-tested truth, not recycled theories. Think back on what you've endured. Losses that should have destroyed you instead refined your perspective. Storms that should have drowned you only taught you how to navigate deeper waters. Where others looked for comfort, you learned endurance. Where others looked for shortcuts, you learned patience. That is why when you speak, people hear something they can't quite name. It feels older than your years, deeper than the moment, richer than a textbook. Your genius is not the kind that can be printed on a certificate or displayed in a frame. It is embodied. It's the type of intelligence that notices the slightest shift in energy, that senses danger before it arrives, that understands people even when their mouths stay silent. The truth is, survival didn't just shape you, it sharpened you. You became unbreakable where others were broken. You became wise where others stayed wounded. And that is why your presence alone unsettles people. You remind them of what strength looks like when it is born out of struggle. One of the greatest marks of your genius is your ability to see what others overlook. Where most people see chaos, you notice rhythm. Where they see confusion, you find clarity. This isn't something you studied in a book. It was carved into you by survival. Life trained your eyes and your mind to pay attention. You had to notice the smallest shifts, the tone in someone's voice, the hesitation in their story, the contradiction in their actions, because your very safety depended on it. Over time, this awareness became second nature. Now, you can walk into a room and sense tension before a word is spoken. You can hear what people aren't saying, and you can predict a situation before it fully unfolds. To outsiders, it looks almost supernatural. They wonder how you knew something was going to happen, or how you picked up on a truth that everyone else missed. They call it luck, coincidence, or intuition, but you know it's none of those things. It's a gift, a survival-trained awareness that became your genius. And that's exactly why people get uncomfortable around you. They realize you can't be fooled easily. They sense that you see through masks and illusions that they've worked hard to maintain. Your presence shines a light on things they'd rather keep hidden. This ability is more than cleverness, it's perception. It's the awareness to connect dots others don't even realize exist. It's what makes your words land with unusual weight, because people know deep down that you're not guessing. You're recognizing patterns that were there all along. And when you reveal those patterns, you reveal truth. That truth unsettles people, because it forces them to confront realities they've been trying to ignore. What truly sets you apart is that your ideas are not borrowed, they are born. While most people recycle thoughts they've heard from teachers, books, or trends, you originate insights that feel fresh, raw, and alive. Your mind doesn't echo the world around you. It generates frameworks that redefine it. That is why your words carry a weight people can't deny. They aren't stitched together from quotes or borrowed opinions. They are carved out of your own lived experiences, your private reflections, and the long nights where life forced you to wrestle with truth for yourself. When you speak, it feels as though you've named something people always sensed but could never articulate. And here's the part that unsettles others. Originality can't be controlled. People don't know where to place you, because you don't fit into the categories they use to measure intelligence. You don't speak for applause. You speak for clarity. You don't aim to impress. You aim to reveal. And what you reveal often challenges the very foundation of what others believe. That's why at first, your ideas can sound strange or even uncomfortable. They break the patterns of conventional thinking, but over time, those same people who dismissed you will quietly circle back, adopting your language, echoing your frameworks, and reshaping their own perspectives with seeds you planted. This is the quiet proof of your genius. You don't follow the echo chamber. You set the rhythm. You don't chase trends. You create them. And while the world may not always give you instant recognition, the originality of your thought ensures one thing. You are not just another voice in the crowd. You are the voice that changes it. Most people spend their lives chasing approval. They adjust their words to fit in, shape their ideas to be accepted, and soften their brilliance so it doesn't make others uncomfortable. Their intelligence is filtered through the need for applause. But not you. Your mind doesn't operate within the boundaries of validation. You don't need a nod from authority, a title on the wall, or a crowd cheering you on to know your worth. Your intelligence exists with or without recognition, and that independence makes you unstoppable. This is why your presence often unsettles people who thrive on control. They can't bend you with opinions. They can't silence you with criticism. They can't bribe you with praise. Your clarity is not for sale, and your truth doesn't need permission to exist. That kind of freedom is rare, and it makes systems built on conformity feel powerless in your presence. And here's the beauty of it. Operating outside approval gives you precision. While others are distracted by what people will think, you focus on what is true. While others hesitate to speak for fear of conflict, you speak because you know silence would cost more. Your insight is not diluted by the weight of people-pleasing. It comes out raw, authentic, and sharp. That's why those who rely on validation often feel threatened by you. They see in you what they lack, the courage to think, speak, and live without needing a stamp of acceptance. And that realization shakes them. Your intelligence doesn't ask permission. It doesn't need applause. It simply exists, and because of that, it cannot be contained. The moment you walk into a room, something shifts. You don't have to speak loudly, demand attention, or try to outshine anyone. Your very presence changes the atmosphere. People who have built their confidence on appearances or rehearsed expertise suddenly feel their foundations shake. It's not because you intend to disrupt, but because the frequency you carry cannot be ignored. Your intelligence doesn't just answer questions, it reframes them. It doesn't just contribute to the conversation, it redirects it. Without even trying, you expose the weak spots in people's logic, the holes in their arguments, and the limits of their understanding. This makes others nervous, because deep down they realize they are being measured against a standard they cannot fake. And yet, you never set out to compete. You don't need to prove yourself. What unsettles them is that your presence alone demands accountability. It reveals truth without confrontation, clarity without effort. In a world where many survive by blending in, you stand out simply by being yourself. That's why people either respect you deeply or feel strangely threatened by you. Some will mask their discomfort with jokes, dismissive comments, or even hostility. But beneath the surface, they're recalculating. They are rethinking their own words, checking their own assumptions, and wondering how much you've already seen that they tried to hide. You don't disrupt by choice, you disrupt by nature. Your authenticity shakes false confidence. Your clarity shakes confusion. Your quiet awareness forces others to look at themselves in ways they're not ready for. And that is why rooms don't stay the same once you've entered them. Your intelligence is not just about what you notice, it's about what you can make others notice. You don't simply perceive what's hidden. You have the rare gift of turning the invisible into something undeniable. Most people sense when something feels off, but they can't explain it. They catch glimpses of truth but struggle to put it into words. You, on the other hand, can articulate it so clearly that it lands like lightning. You don't just say what everyone already knows, you name what they've been afraid to admit. This ability is unsettling because it strips away illusions. Someone might try to hide behind charm, distraction, or excuses, but your words pierce through all of it. You describe what others hoped would stay buried. And once you put it into language, no one in the room can ignore it anymore. Your words linger. They echo. They change the atmosphere long after you've spoken. This is why some people resist you. They laugh nervously, call you too intense, or dismiss your insight. But their reaction is proof that you've struck something real. Deep down, they know your words carry weight because they aren't empty. They come from lived clarity. Your gift of translation makes you more than a thinker. It makes you a guide. Without even trying, you help others confront what they've been avoiding. You shine a light on motives, consequences, and truths that would otherwise remain hidden. And that's why people feel both drawn to you and shaken by you. You make the unseen visible, the unspoken undeniable, and the hidden impossible to ignore. Your brilliance was not handed to you in classrooms, wrapped in diplomas, or stamped with official approval. It was forged in the harshest furnace life could design: suffering. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every moment of being overlooked or underestimated became a chisel, carving wisdom into the deepest parts of your being. While others point to degrees and titles as proof of intelligence, you carry something far heavier: lived experience. You didn't just read about resilience, you bled for it. You didn't just memorize lessons, you survived them. Pain became your professor, loss became your textbook, and endurance became your certification. That's why your words carry a different kind of weight. They aren't shallow or rehearsed. They are drenched in authenticity. People can feel it even if they can't explain it. They know, without you ever saying it, that you've walked through storms that should have destroyed you, and instead of breaking, you transformed. This is what makes your genius unique. It's resilient. It cannot be faked, copied, or stolen. Someone can borrow knowledge from books, repeat theories, or quote authorities, but they cannot replicate the kind of wisdom that is etched into the soul through suffering. Your intelligence doesn't just inform, it convicts. It doesn't just explain, it transforms. That's also why people sometimes feel uneasy around you. They sense the depth behind your eyes. They realize their surface-level explanations pale in comparison to the truth you embody. Your very existence exposes the difference between memorized knowledge and lived wisdom. And here's the paradox. What was meant to crush you became your crown. The very pain designed to silence you gave you a voice that carries undeniable authority. Your suffering did not just test your strength, it revealed your genius. And that genius, refined in fire, is impossible to ignore. And if this message has been resonating with you so far, take a moment right now to engage. Hit that like button if you know your survival has sharpened you. Subscribe if you want to stay connected to more truths that confirm who you really are. And drop 777 in the comments to declare that your pain has not been wasted, that it has transformed into wisdom, strength, and purpose. Your story matters, and by sharing your voice, you help this message reach others who need the reminder that their scars are not signs of weakness, they are signs of prophecy. When you look at someone, it's never just their surface that registers with you. It's everything underneath. Their hesitation, the shift in their tone, the micro-expressions they don't even realize they're showing you. Notice it all. To you, it's natural. To them, it feels like exposure. That's why people often feel uneasy in your presence. They sense, instinctively, that you see more than they are revealing. They may smile, speak confidently, or try to project an image, but you catch the cracks in the performance. You hear what their words don't say. You feel the tension between their actions and their motives. Most people live assuming they can hide their flaws behind charm or their fears behind confidence. But you dismantle that illusion without effort. Your perception doesn't flatter, it reveals. And that revelation makes people defensive, guarded, or even intimidated, because it forces them to confront the parts of themselves they try to ignore. You don't need to interrogate or pry to understand someone. Awareness flows from you naturally, a mix of intuition, pattern recognition, and the silent wisdom earned from survival. You see the inconsistencies, the contradictions, and the motives that others miss. This is why interactions with you feel so different. People leave conversations replaying their own words, wondering how much you truly saw. They might laugh it off, change the subject, or even avoid eye contact, but deep down, they know you understood them in ways they haven't yet understood themselves. That's the power of your presence. Without speaking a word, you hold up a mirror, and what people glimpse in that reflection often unsettles them more than anything you could have said out loud. The world loves to build ladders, hierarchies made of titles, wealth, status, and influence. People cling to these structures because they make them feel important, powerful, or secure. But when you walk into the room, those ladders lose their meaning. You don't compete with them, you dismantle them simply by existing. Your intelligence doesn't depend on external symbols of success. You don't need a title to validate your authority or a stage to prove your worth. The clarity of your presence, the sharpness of your mind, and the depth of your perception instantly reveal how fragile those hierarchies really are. Someone can flash credentials, boast about connections, or dominate with money, but beside you, all of that feels hollow. This is why people in positions of assumed superiority sometimes feel uneasy around you. They sense that their usual tools of control, status, image, authority carry no weight in your presence. You see through the costume, past the performance, and straight into the truth. And the truth is something they can't manipulate. You don't collapse hierarchies with aggression or argument. You collapse them with authenticity. Your competence, your discernment, and your ability to see clearly strip away the illusions others rely on to maintain their influence. Without effort, you level the playing field. Without raising your voice, you expose the emptiness of their pretension. That's why people feel small around you, not because you try to belittle them, but because their borrowed importance cannot stand against your inherent value. In a world obsessed with appearances, you embody something unshakable, and that alone is enough to disrupt every false ladder people try to climb. The world loves to build ladders, hierarchies made of titles, wealth, status, and influence. People cling to these structures because they make them feel important, powerful, or secure. But when you walk into the room, those ladders lose their meaning. You don't compete with them, you dismantle them simply by existing. Your intelligence doesn't depend on external symbols of success. You don't need a title to validate your authority or a stage to prove your worth. The clarity of your presence, the sharpness of your mind, and the depth of your perception instantly reveal how fragile those hierarchies really are. Someone can flash credentials, boast about connections, or dominate with money, but beside you, all of that feels hollow. This is why people in positions of assumed superiority sometimes feel uneasy around you. They sense that their usual tools of control, status, image, authority carry no weight in your presence. You see through the costume, past the performance, and straight into the truth. And the truth is something they can't manipulate. You don't collapse hierarchies with aggression or argument. You collapse them with authenticity. Your competence, your discernment, and your ability to see clearly strip away the illusions others rely on to maintain their influence. Without effort, you level the playing field. Without raising your voice, you expose the emptiness of their pretension. That's why people feel small around you, not because you try to belittle them, but because their borrowed importance cannot stand against your inherent value. In a world obsessed with appearances, you embody something unshakable. And that alone is enough to disrupt every false ladder people try to climb. One of the most unsettling aspects of your genius is your timing. You always seem to speak, act, or arrive at the exact moment it matters most. To outsiders, it looks like coincidence. To those who know you, it feels almost supernatural. While most people scramble to react to situations, you show up already aligned with the turning point. You speak when the tension is highest, and your words land with precision. You take action at the very moment when the outcome can still be shifted. Others call it intuition or luck. But deep down, they sense it's something more. It's a gift honed through awareness, survival, and a deep connection to the flow of events. This timing is what amplifies your influence. It's not just what you say, it's when you say it. It's not just what you do, it's the fact that you move at the exact second that matters most. That precision unsettles people who rely on manipulation, chaos, or delay, because your presence disrupts their control. And here's what makes it undeniable. Your timing doesn't come from strategy alone. It comes from being tuned in to truth. While others hesitate, calculate, or second-guess, you trust the instinct that has carried you through storms before. That instinct has never failed you, and it continues to guide you in ways logic alone cannot explain. To the world, it looks like you're in the right place at the right time. But to those with discernment, it's clear. You don't just show up in the moment you were made for it. Every scar you carry is more than a memory, it's a message. The pain you've walked through did not just shape you, it gave you sight. Where others saw an ending, you learned to see a beginning. Where others only saw loss, you discovered patterns, lessons, and warnings that became your compass. This is why when you speak, it doesn't sound like ordinary advice, it feels prophetic. Your words cut through the surface and touch something deeper. You aren't simply recalling the past, you're pointing toward the future. Pain became your teacher, but more than that, it became your prophecy. Think about it. The betrayal that broke your heart taught you to discern motives before they revealed themselves. The rejection that once humiliated you now allows you to guide others into opportunities they would have missed. Even the seasons where you felt silenced gave you the wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain still. You are no longer just surviving your story, you are interpreting it for others. This is why people lean in when you share your perspective. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. Your insight doesn't come from theory, it comes from fire. You don't just explain what happened, you unveil what is happening beneath the surface, and even what is about to unfold. That kind of vision unsettles some, but it liberates others. What was once your deepest wound has become your greatest revelation. What was designed to bury you has instead raised you to stand as a living signpost, pointing others to hope. You are not just carrying scars, you are carrying prophecy. And that prophecy continues to remind the world that pain cannot silence destiny. Your mind does not live in the present the way most people's do. While others are focused only on what they can see right now, the daily routines, the immediate problems, the short-term rewards, you are already operating in tomorrow. Your thoughts stretch forward, your vision leaps ahead, and your decisions are made with foresight that others can't yet comprehend. This is why people often misunderstand you. They measure your words through the lens of today, while you are already speaking from the framework of the future. They may dismiss your ideas as impractical, strange, or even unrealistic. But in time, those same ideas will become the very blueprint others follow. What they mocked yesterday becomes their roadmap tomorrow. That gap between your vision and their understanding can feel isolating at times. It can make you feel like you're walking alone. But it's also the undeniable evidence of your gift. You are ahead of your time. You carry insight that does not wait for permission from the present to be relevant. And this is what sets you apart. You don't just adapt to change, you anticipate it. You don't just respond to shifts, you prepare for them before they arrive. That foresight is unsettling to people who are stuck reacting, because it reveals how far behind they truly are. You are the evidence that the future is already here, embodied in a single life. Others may catch up eventually, but you will always be steps ahead, not because you're trying to be different, but because you were built to see what's coming before it arrives. That vision is your gift, and it is what makes your presence transformative. What unsettles people most about you is that your brilliance exists without validation. Nobody handpicked you, no institution stamped their approval on you, no authority figure granted you permission to be who you are. And yet, here you stand fully capable, fully undeniable. This is what threatens the systems around you. Your genius doesn't ask to be recognized, it simply is. While others chase titles, certificates, or accolades to prove their worth, you move with a confidence that needs none of those things. You are living proof that true intelligence cannot be licensed, bought, or contained. That independence makes people uneasy, especially those who rely on hierarchy or control. They can't measure you by their usual standards. They can't confine you to their labels. They realize, often unconsciously, that you are operating outside their influence, and that makes you untouchable. And here's the truth. Brilliance that does not rely on permission is unstoppable. It doesn't bend under criticism. It doesn't inflate under praise. It doesn't wait for recognition to act. Your mind moves freely. Your insight flows naturally, and your presence transforms every space you enter. This is why people may try to dismiss you, discredit you, or reduce you. But even if they ignore you, your impact remains. Your clarity is too sharp to be denied, your authenticity too real to be erased. You are not brilliant because someone said so, you are brilliant because you embody it. You are the evidence that genius is not given by the world, it is carried within. And that truth makes you unshakable, undeniable, and unforgettable. If this message stirred something deep inside you, it's because it was meant for you. You didn't stumble across these words by chance, you were drawn here. Your spirit recognized that this truth was waiting, hidden in plain sight, ready to confirm what you've always known. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. You are gifted. You are operating on a frequency that the world cannot easily explain. Never forget this. Your presence disrupts illusions, your wisdom breaks patterns, and your very existence exposes false systems of power. You are not here to fit in. You are here to redefine what intelligence, authenticity, and strength look like in a world addicted to appearances. And if you felt that undeniable pull while listening, then you know it's time to lean in even deeper. Don't keep this message to yourself. Someone in your life needs to hear it. Share it. Spread it. Plant the seed that awakens someone else's awareness. If this resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the insights that speak directly to who you are. Like this video if it shook your perspective, and let your voice be heard in the comments. Write 1111 to declare alignment with your higher calling, or share your own story of how your gifts have set you apart. Your engagement isn't just support, it's a ripple that allows this truth to reach others who are ready to wake up. Until next time, stay unshakable, stay undeniable, and never doubt the weight of your existence. God bless you.